here with CheyAnn Knudsen, the head women's golf coach at Century College. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Did I say that correctly? Century College?
It's center. Yep.
Centre College.
Yep.
Yeah. So how's your season going? And can you tell me a little bit about your school?
Yeah. So our season started August 19th. The girls came into campus and we had preseason. And we're almost at the tail end. We're going to golf week next Friday. So, in my opinion, it's been a quick season. I feel like I came here and it was just, boom, boom, boom. And it feels like it's flown by, but in a good way. We've been playing really good and learning a lot. So just continuing to do that in the off season coming up is what we're going to do. So overall, pretty good.
Mhm. Yeah. So this is your first season as head coach. Your team finished second in its first tournament of the season. So just
Yeah.
tell me what it was like, for you as a new head coach for your team to finish second in your first tournament as head coach.
Yeah, I didn't have any expectations for the girls. I knew coming into the program that they were, pretty good as a whole. So I was excited to be able to coach players that, have a good foundation, right? But, placing second at our first event was pretty amazing. I was kind of, on cloud nine a little bit, just because my girls played well. I felt like we overall had good chemistry on the golf course. And I was a little nervous just because, I was new and I didn't necessarily know how they wanted me to coach them. But we learned and, eventually placed second. And it was a great feeling to start out that way.
Yes, your team's most recent tournament was the NCAA Fall Preview. Can you recap that tournament for your team and also tell me what it was like for your team to, play and compete at King
Yeah.
Trace Resort, which is, host of the PGA Tour's Barbasol Championship?
Yeah. We were grateful to be there, able to attend. I would say that we walked in. I didn't ever play the course while I was a college athlete, and some of the girls have played it or champions, which is the brother sister course of Two Keen Trace. But we had our practice round, we picked our spots and our targets, and overall felt pretty good. The first day of the tournament was kind of a struggle, I will say, just because there was a lot of wind. And we haven't played in much wind this season. It's, been, I would say, nice weather for our season so far. So it was something that we had to overcome. We had to learn how to hit, side hill shots, or we had to club up or club down, and it just wasn't our day. So after the round, we had talked and we just went out with no expectations. We were just going to have fun. We're going to try new things. Learn was the big idea here the second day. And we ended up playing what we normally play. 304 was our, pretty normal for us. So it was nice to see that the girls could come back, after a struggle the day before. But in general, we trusted each other. They trusted me more. They were trying new things that maybe they wouldn't have if we were in contention to win. Um, so it was just nice to see that we could play, how we normally do after a tough day. So
So can you tell me, what was it like when you got hired as the head women's coach at Center, and what does it mean to you to be the head women's golf coach?
yeah, so to be honest with you, I'm a recent grad. I've been out of school for now what would be my third year, but when I got the position, I was only out of school for 2 years, and I just thought that I saw the position was open. I applied and I waited all summer. Um, and I really I'm blessed. I'm very grateful. I just didn't think that it was going to be me in a sense, but the girls believed in me, my admin believed in me, and ultimately gave me the job. And I moved from Wisconsin to Kentucky in about a week and a half. So it was a quick turnaround, but I've always wanted to be a college golf coach, and I just didn't necessarily think it would be this early on. So I'm glad that I took the leap. I love my team. I love where I work. The community is amazing. I would have major regrets if I didn't take the opportunity that was presented to me. And it's a great fit, I think. And I'm looking forward to the future with the Colonels. So we have, lots in store of practice and opportunities for the girls to get better, and recruiting wise, recruiting girls that can develop. And I'm just looking forward to my career here, and to, hopefully win a national championship one day.
Yeah, so you mentioned that, you always wanted to be a college golf head coach, but, why did you, always know that you wanted to be a college golf head coach?
So I started golf when I was 3 years old, and I've just been on the golf course all the time. Um, and I also played basketball. Basketball was my first love, but I'm a little little girl, like only 5'1". So ultimately that was, never going to happen for me. But after I graduated college, I was a teacher for 2 years, and I was an assistant coach at the University of Wisconsin Whitewater. And I just grew a passion for coaching. I always have. I've coached multiple basketball teams through, I would say, throughout college. And coaching is just, I would say, in my blood. I just love, growing young players into better players, but also helping them in their life too. So I got the opportunity to coach a little bit of college golf before taking this job, but it's just something that I've always been super passionate about. And I decided, like, this is my time, and I need to take the opportunity and run with it, and become, a great. So yeah.
So with all coaches I'm interviewing, like to talk about your early golfing career. So, how did you get started playing golf, and, what are some of your earliest golfing memories, growing up, maybe playing junior or high school golf?
Yeah. So, like I said, I started golfing when I was 3. My parents would bring me out with them to the golf course. And I remember the earliest memories would be, taking my 7 iron, and my parents would let me tee off, and then I would just hit the ball all the way up to the hole, and I would meet them at the hole while they were putting. And they would always bring my putter, and that's kind of how we did it. And then I would say probably around third grade, we went out to Arizona, and we were playing at Arizona National, where there was a golf coach there. And I believe it was for some academy. And he had asked my parents if I would be able to, maybe join his academy. He was very interested in me on when I was hitting range balls. But, my parents had to tell him that we were from Wisconsin. So right then and there, he was just like, get her swing coach. She's natural, like she's going to go far in this game. So I started golf lessons or with a swing coach when I was 7. And ever since then, it was, swing coaches, junior golf tournaments, just trying to work on becoming better. And I've played basketball, and I was in track. Like, I did all the sports. So golf was one of those things that came natural to me. And when I went to high school, my team was pretty good. I was very fortunate. And I went to state all 4 years, and 3 as a team and 1 as an individual. And then went on to college, and played 5 years because of COVID, and really had major success under Andrea Wieland. And she was also my high school coach, so it was nice to have her for 8 years. And I just learned a lot, and grew, and to learn to love the sport more than I already have. And I think the reason why golf became really, really important to me is because I tore my ACL in my freshman year of high school playing basketball. And so I had to, take a year off, but I ultimately played golf my sophomore year season with a torn ACL, went to state as an individual, and then had surgery 2 days later. So it was just, one of those things that if I could play injured I could do anything really. So
Yeah.
I just decided that I was going to stick with golf and try to be the best that I possibly could. So,
So you mentioned you played basketball and then also played a little bit of track and field.
yep.
Do you think playing multiple sports, helped your golf game, or do you think it's important for, a golfer to just focus on just playing golf?
Well, so golf is one of those things that you can get burnt out easily because you're not really practicing or playing with a team. And so I find that if you start golf early in life, um, you need to have an out sometimes, right? Like, so whether that means you're playing other sports with your friends, or you're getting to do other things, other hobbies, activities, because if you're just always golfing by yourself, it can just be so lonely. So I advise, athletes, especially if they start young, to get involved in other activities, and give yourself a break from golf. But if you're starting later in life, it tends to be that those players really captivate the love for it, and can develop because they're older, so it's easier to work at it and not feel alone. I don't, if that makes any sense. As a young kid, it can just feel so lonely when you're out practicing by yourself. So I would advise, students and athletes to do other things, to just so that they burnout isn't as quick. So
You
yeah.
began your college career at Carthage College. Can you tell me a little bit about Carthage College and also how you ended up attending Carthage College?
Yeah. So Um, I was recruited by other places, and South Dakota being one of them, and I had went on a tour and a visit and whatnot, and um, I eventually started talking to the Carthage coach. His name's Mike Scardina, and he was amazing. Um, he would come to my events, and he was very active. Having conversations with me via text message or phone calls, or just making it a personal relationship. And so I ended up, deciding that I wanted to go to Carthage, and knew that my coach Mike believed in me. And so I attended, and, had a pretty decent year. It was just not that it was an hour and a half from home, so it wasn't, as far as I wanted to be. But eventually my coach, left. So I was like, like, I kind of want to be closer to home. My high school coach just got the job at Whitewater. My teammate Maddie McHugh, she was at Whitewater, transferred from North Dakota. And I had played in a tournament in Beloit with Carthage, but against Whitewater. And Andrea was just like, like, we would love to have you, and wouldn't it be awesome for you and Maddie and me to be, together again? And so I was like, it's probably the best. It's a little bit cheaper of a school, and closer to home. I can live at home if I want to, and be in a program that, powered by tradition. And I really believed in that. So I decided to transfer.
Yeah, after 1 year at Carthage College, you then transferred to the University of Wisconsin Whitewater.
Yep.
Why did you choose to attend Wisconsin Whitewater? What was the transition like for you going from Carthage to Wisconsin Whitewater?
Yeah. So I loved my time at Carthage. I had a really good time. But I just felt like a sense of belonging at Whitewater due to my high school coach being my now new coach, and having a high school teammate on the team as well. I would say that Whitewater really brought me in open arms, and I gained a lot of friends doing that. One of them being my best friends today. And so we just, as a team grew, and I thought that being closer to home and playing competitively, because we did have a really good team, and we developed as the years went on to become even better than what we were. Um, and winning the conference championship my first year kind of solidified, like, yep, I'm right where I belong. I'm with the team that I need to be with. I'm with the coach that I've always known. And so it felt right.
Can you sum up your college golf experience? Like, what were some of your favorite memories playing college golf? What did you enjoy most about college golf?
So I loved the overall atmosphere of college golf, especially Division three. It allows the student athlete to focus on, your academics, but it also gives you a competitiveness too. And Division three, we are competitive, and there's a lot of good teams out here. And I just think that overall, I would say that my my college golf experience was amazing. I would love for all of my girls and, girls that are aspiring to be college athletes to walk in my shoes because winning, you know, I would say four conference championships and going to nationals 3 years was amazing. Not many people can say that they got to do that. I would say some of my best memories would be just traveling in the van with the team, going to national championships, playing really great golf courses. We did get to go to Ireland my believe it was my junior year as a team. So that was a really good experience. We got to play three different golf courses. Just being overseas is amazing. So that was something that I still look back on today and was grateful that I got to go and do that. But just in general, the atmosphere and being a student athlete is something that I will never forget.
So after your college golf career concluded, you were an assistant coach at Wisconsin Whitewater, your alma mater.
Yeah.
What did it mean to you to remain at your alma mater, and also how did you end up as an assistant coach?
So once I graduated, I took a job as a teacher in Sharon, Wisconsin, a fifth and sixth grade ELA teacher. And so I was close enough to home. I was about 30 minutes away. And I had talked to Andrea and just said, like, if you would have me as an assistant, like I will help as much as I can. I might not make it to practices or some things during the week because of my job, but I will attend tournaments and I'll travel. Like I'll do whatever you need me to do. And she believed in me. She's always had me, as a player, so she knew what I was capable of as a player, but also as a coach. And we worked really, really well together. And so I just started with them and grateful enough that she gave me the opportunity to do that. And so I would say that's, probably what led me to Whitewater. And, you know, I would say it's bittersweet because leading the team to four conference championships as a player, but then also coaching 2 years and winning two conference championships. It's like the best of both worlds. Like I got to play and win, but I also get to coach and win with the team that I got to be a part of. So it was just an amazing experience, and I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, so you said it was an amazing experience. I'm interested to know, what was it like for you being an assistant coach? What did you learn from being an assistant coach? Like, what were some of your roles and responsibilities?
Yeah. So ultimately Andrea took care of the hotels and the van rentals and all the administrative things that now I have to do, but she took care of all that, so I got to really just learn how to coach in a sense of when I was playing I had control, and so being on the outside of that, like as a coach you can only do so much. You can give yardages, you can help them, talk them through different shots and mental things, but like you're not the one that's hitting the shot. So I had to learn that was probably my biggest struggle. um but overall, I think what I learned as a coach and how I coached Whitewater, I took some of that. And of course, I've changed some things, but I took what I learned to center. And I think that, just being the type of coach that I am, I'm really hands on, especially around the greens. I'm still learning to, not be in control and allowing the girls to make their own decisions and believing and trusting that they're making the right ones. But overall, I think my coaching experience at Whitewater really helped develop me into the head coach that I am now.
Yeah, so you're a new head coach now. What are some of the major differences, between being, a head coach and being an assistant coach?
Yeah, so I think that, the major differences would be, I'm now in charge of everything. So, like I was saying before, Andrea did all of the administrative things. I now have to do them. And so, making sure that I'm on top of flights and hotels or Airbnbs and rental cars and all of those little behind the scene things that nobody really thinks about that gets done. I have to do that. So I would say like that's like the biggest difference for me is just making sure that I'm organized and that I have, teas and balls and snacks and waters, like all that stuff. I didn't really have to worry about. But now, that's like my my one of my priorities and one of my jobs is making sure that my girls have everything that they need and that everything's organized to a T so that we're, able to golf the best that we possibly can and they don't have to worry about any of that. Um, but overall, I think just I just have a great time. I love my job and it's the perfect fit for me.
Yeah. So my final question is, what is the most rewarding and satisfying thing to you about being a head coach?
Great question. I would say that most rewarding would be to, when I get to see my players succeed. It's a great feeling, but when you see players that are very, very capable of, shooting low scores or, hitting certain shots or doing certain things on the golf course, um, seeing them achieve those, for an example, I taught one of my girls or I wouldn't say taught. She knew how to hit the shot, but it was a chip shot, right? And it was more of a lower ball flight. So just working on that and seeing her do that in actual competition and it going right where she wanted to, right next to the hole, like we've been practicing, was the best feeling. I also have been working on pitch shots and like knockdowns with another player at practice often, and she did that at the last tournament, and it went smoothly. It was just I almost had a tear. Like I was almost in tears because it was just we've been working really hard at that shot at practice, and I feel like that is something that could really lower her scores, and she did it right in front of me with me there, and it was just so amazing to see her overcome something that she's been working on. And I think that's, the best thing in college golf or just in head coaching in general is you get to see all the hard work pay off, and it's really nice. It makes me feel really good to see that.